Hello YouTube, it's your girl Tana again, also known as the Queen of Dyslexia. For everybody that was watching my first two videos, thank you, and for those that are new, welcome. So let me first start off by saying this is my little buddy. His name is Octo, and he's an emotional octopus. And this is a great tool to have in your home or your classroom just to help students and kids that are nonverbal or that have learning differences, that have trouble communicating. So he's smiling on one side, and on the other side, he has a mad face. So like I said, it's a great tool to use if you have students that are having trouble communicating, showing emotion. So he's a great tool. He's cute, he's adorable, he's plushy, and you can probably find different toys like this or stuffed animals like this on, eBay, Amazon. Take a look. So now let's get to it. Today I'm going to talk to you about my high school experience, which was the absolute worst. The first 3 years of high school for me was, typical, the cliques, the bullying from teachers, from being different. So now I want to fast forward a little bit to my senior year. And baby, listen, I got a lot to say. So keep in mind, I went to a private Catholic high school in New Jersey. So keep that in mind as I'm telling you this story, because it gets crazy. So in 2012, I was in the 12th grade, and I was maybe halfway through the year and just about to graduate. It was time for my IEP meeting and psychological evaluation to come up with an IEP that will follow me throughout college. And at the time, I was failing chemistry because the teacher was just so incompetent, and it was just difficult. I hate science, I hated chemistry, and I still say this to this day. So going forward, the psychological team or IEP team would constantly pull me out of chemistry, and that was a class that I was already failing. So why would you pull me out to do testing when grades matter the most, apparently? So they were constantly pulling me out of this class, and I have finally brought it to the attention of my IEP team, guidance counselor, and the team that was responsible for doing the psychological evaluations. And I was furious. So I was reluctant to take the test. Whenever I would be pulled out of this chemistry class, I would have an attitude with the team that was supposed to be administering the test. Because number one, I didn't understand what the test was. Number two, they never told me that I would be pulled out of a class that I was already failing. So common sense should have come into play at that point. I was so reluctant because I don't feel like leaving a class and being singled out as different and have the kids ask me, where did I go, for almost an hour, 45 minutes to an hour period, and have to explain to them, oh yeah, I was getting psychological evaluation. Who wants to do that? So I took the test the summer of my senior year. And as I was, so this is maybe 2011, 2012. It was the summer. And I finally took the test in the summer where it wasn't interrupting any of my classes. And I did pass chemistry, by the way, with the help of another science teacher who was absolutely awesome. I loved him to death. We're still close, still friends on Facebook and all that other good stuff. Because he is also one of the only teachers that actually cared. And so anyway, the results from the psychological evaluation was that I needed extra time on exams, and it also stated, I still have the record, it also stated that I was very reluctant to take the test and I needed more encouragement due to the psychological evaluation that the IEP stems from. And the results from the test had to be discussed. So it was my guidance counselor, we'll get into her later. It was my guidance counselor, the science teacher that helped me so much. It was my mother, my caseworker, and the team that was doing the psychological evaluation. And baby, let me tell you, in that meeting, my guidance counselor from the very beginning, since I entered high school, was the worst. Worst doesn't even begin to describe this woman and how she treated people who had learning disabilities and who had learning differences. Her sole purpose, the guidance counselors had their different roles, and they had a particular set of students. So this one guidance counselor had the students that had IEPs and that had learning disabilities and that had learning differences. And she was the devil, the absolute devil. So this lady, during my IEP meeting with the case manager and all these other people to go over the results of the psychological evaluation, she told me, and this is my senior year in a private Catholic high school in New Jersey, she told me my senior year that I would never make it. And she told me that if I did make it to college, that I would drop out by my senior year. And this is coming from a guidance counselor. The guidance counselor said that to my face, in front of my mother, in front of the psychological evaluation team, in front of the caseworker, and in front of the teacher that helped me so much. This was said to my face. Which is something you should never do to someone. And look, if somebody's going to tell you they don't want you to make it, that it's for 3 reasons. They either, number 1, want to be you. Number 2, they can't get into the field that you're trying to get into. And at the time I said I wanted to be a teacher, and this is when she told me that I would never make it through college, and if I did make it to college, period, that I would never finish past the sophomore year. So I've come to that conclusion. Either she wanted to be a teacher and she failed at it, so that's why she became a guidance counselor, or she was just jealous because she didn't have my drive, my passion, or my perseverance to even make it to be a teacher, number 1. So with that being said, I graduated in 2019 with my bachelor's degree in history. I've taken several education classes, and now I'm currently enrolled in my master's of psychology program. So no, it's not true. Do not believe these professionals when it comes to what your student or what yourself can or cannot do. They do not determine your future, you do. They might throw stones and say that you will never make it, you were crazy for trying to explore a field that, you know, may be difficult for someone that has learning disabilities, but guess what? Go and do it, because they don't determine your future, you do. And let me just say, it was up until a few years ago that I was angry at this lady. I felt the need to prove her wrong. Like, there was times where I wanted to personally mail her a copy of my bachelor's degree and mail her my acceptance letter that stated that I was in a master's program and that I graduated. And I'm about to graduate for the 2nd time again next September. So for a while I was angry at this lady, but now I just feel sorry for her. I feel sorry that you feel the need, that you are down that low in life and you're supposed to be a Christian at a Catholic high school, that you feel the need to be so down in yourself and you feel the need to bring others down with you. Do not be angry at these people. The best revenge is to prove them wrong. And listen, rotten fruit always falls. Keep that in mind. So when you guys are coming in these IEP meetings, when you're sitting at the table, if your student or child is invited to their own IEP meetings, make them uncomfortable. Bring up your concerns. Prove that you care about your child and that you're trying your best. My mother did not go to college. She didn't know what an IEP meeting was. She didn't know what half the educational terminologies they were saying. And instead of educating her, she mocked us for being poor, for not knowing how to afford college, for not knowing how to fill out scholarships. She mocked us and pretty much told me that I would never amount to anything. Now, isn't a guidance counselor's job to guide you, to make the best decision you possibly can about your life, not to discourage you. Okay? It was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. I was fighting back tears, and the only reason why I kept my composure in that IEP meeting was because I had the science teacher with me, and he was telling me to calm down. Because the rage and the anger and the embarrassment that I felt, I was always a feisty one in high school. You say something to me, I'm going to say something back. But the rage that I felt towards this lady, I have no words for what I felt towards this lady. And she knows who she is. And she's still a guidance counselor to this day in a private Catholic high school in New Jersey. It is beyond me how she still has that position. But you know what? That is none of my business. But I guarantee you she's probably still telling students that they probably won't make it because they have a learning disability and because they have learning differences. So with that being said, I'll leave you guys with this, and I'll continue to tell you about my experience. That was my high school experience. It was horrible. So my hope is that anybody who's watching this video comes up with inspiration, that don't let people discourage you. Find your own way, find your own peace, and even when you do make it, don't be mad at these people, because these people aren't even worth your breath. Okay? So with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope this inspires some people that have learning disabilities like me, specifically dyslexia, or any learning challenges that you may have, to always keep striving for what you want to do in life, for who you want to be in life, and not to listen to the naysayers, because they're nothing. If you have to put somebody down, then you're absolutely nothing. You're worse than worthless. You're worse than worthless, okay? So always remember to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, known as the Queen of Dyslexia. So I'll see you guys later. And always remember to keep your head up.